Now, I think it would be a great idea to become a martyr and use it as a tool for humor. If you want to be a martyr, get yourself a martyr kit. Get a piece of Velcro, put a piece around your wrist, another around your head, snap it together. Then you can go around telling everybody, oh, nobody cares. And you know what? They don't. And see, there's a lot to be a martyr about today, too, because I forgot to include something. We can't even enjoy things today. Can you enjoy things without being reported? When's the last time you ate down and sat down at a meal and you just ate and drooled all over yourself and went, oh, delightful. Now there's somebody there saying, how many grams are you having? So now we have everybody involved, don't we? We did our big toothy grin. Now open your eyes. This makes you look alert. Now raise your eyebrows. This makes you look tall and thin. That's your new low-fat face. Now everybody, reach down and grab hold of your belly. Keeping in mind that you must take ownership of whatever you created. If you fed it, it's yours. Now, some people are lucky. They have different sections they can hang on to. So just decide which layer you want to hang on to. Now, if you don't have enough of your own, hang on to the person next to you. Now, the next part is very easy. I want you to look at somebody's face so that you can experience joy yourself by looking at somebody else. So look at somebody's face. Hang on to your belly. Thank you very much. And welcome to the joy of stress. Joyful about being in traffic with somebody who failed driver's ed. And what about this person I live with who just won't study their relationship dictionary? How about the kids who fail to get to the bus every morning? I just don't know what to do. It's terrible. But we may have some answers here today because, you know, stress is positive or negative depending on how you look at it. And each and every one of us has within ourselves the power to decide how to interpret stressful events. We can do it with humor. We can do it with wisdom. Sometimes we can use some compassion. Sometimes we can use patience. And sometimes we can just accept the situation for what it is. I just a little aside about this. You might want this information. You know why a lot of people are stressed about sex now? It's because they don't have time, and they don't have the ability to fit it into their schedule. So they're exhausted and tired, and there's no time for sex. And how do I know this? Well, this has now reached sort of an epidemic, and Oprah Winfrey had a show on this, and she had several tired couples on one afternoon. So now on Friday night, you have another job. Now, I can think of a better method, and I happen to have one myself, but what I like to do is I just tell my husband to start without me. I tell him when it sounds good, I'll be in. I used to own a fitness center, and I taught aerobics, can you tell? And anytime I asked people how they got heavy, they'd say, well, I went to a wedding. I said, you got like this at one wedding? And of course, there's all the people who are bloated. Do you know how many people are bloated? It's like a nation of walking waterbeds. It's funny, I come from an Italian family, Sicilian, and my grandmother had the whole thing, but he only had one arm. But he thought he had two. Anytime anybody was having a bad time, he'd go up to them and say, "You're having trouble because you only have two hands. I'm going to have to help you because I have one." Eternal optimist. And you know what they've discovered? That optimists actually live longer. Pessimists are accurate, but they don't live as long. We can't get along, male, female. Oh, that's a whole thing. The relationship stuff. You could exhaust yourself. You can't go out with somebody anymore. You have to give them a test. Now you want to give them a Myers-Briggs test. You want to see where they fit in. They might not be where you are. Who knows? I should have read a book like that years ago. We used to know that men were men and women were women, but not anymore. Now we have to make a man into a woman and a woman into a man. And we spend days and hours and hours and hours and days saying, "Oh my God, you know, if you really liked me, this is what you do." They don't want to do that. Men don't care what we do. They're not interested in listening to us either. Basically, all they see is blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, sex. Blah, blah, sex. Maybe when you're finished talking, we can have sex. You wanted to flee in case a saber-toothed tiger attacked your cave. But now you're in your car. The body doesn't know the difference. So it starts reacting like it's protecting itself from a tiger. So your eyes get narrow so you can see. Your hearing becomes more acute so you can hear in case the animal leaves its vehicle and attacks yours. Your hands get clammy as blood flow rushes to the extremity so you can fight or flee. And your diaphragm and anus lock. Nature is wise. You reach for a spear in your back seat. There's two explanatory styles, pessimist and optimist. The 3 P's that the pessimist uses pretty much constantly. The 3 P's, everything is personal, pervasive, and permanent. Personal, pervasive, and permanent. What does that mean? Everything's on a global scale. If it's your day off and it rains on your day off, you're certain that that happens all the time. Here's the rhetoric. This happens all the time. Do you know this happens all the time to me? Every time I have a day off, it rains. So suddenly there's a plot. Someone is seeding the clouds every time you have a day off. And the intention is to make you not have any sun that day. So no matter what's going on, you use these words. Every time, always, everyone. So that now, what does it feed into? A sense of hopelessness. Can you feel hopeful when you have words like that? No, you can't. All you're going to think of is, there's nothing I can do about this. I'm boxed in. I've been chosen. I'm the one. They're out to get me. I knew it. They're all out to get me. And you know, once you slip down that slippery slope into the victim mentality, and you use that kind of language, it's very hard to get a grasp on things and to crawl up. So what you want to do is learn how to be an optimist. Is that difficult? Well, not as difficult as you would perceive, because we're not talking about being a Pollyanna. People really misjudge the word optimism, and they use the Pollyanna kind of mentality. We're not talking about that. Pollyannas are ineffective and passive. What does a Pollyanna do? It walks around seeing nothing, observing nothing, and thinking that it's all okay. Oh, it's fine. Oh, your arm fell off? You do have another one, don't you? No, an optimist is a resilient individual. I wish that more workplaces would do workshops on optimism, because they wouldn't have to spend the millions of dollars they spend on sending the average person to workshops on how to deal with difficult people. Difficult people would go to the optimism class and leave the other natural, normal people alone. Optimism is actually quite easy to embrace. It starts as soon as you open your eyes. When you open your eyes, you should be excited that you're back. It's a gift, isn't it? Oh, some people don't come back. Why wouldn't you acknowledge that? See, a lot of people think, oh, corny, silly, when is this going to do? It's going to change your intention. It's going to say to your mind, your body, and your spirit, my God, I've been blessed. I'm back.
Author, humorist, PBS star, and Fortune 500 trainer Loretta LaRoche has released her 5th book, titled Kick Up Your Heels Before You're Too Short to Wear Them. Loretta shared an excerpt from one of her favorite chapters about juicy words from her home in Plymouth.
This is Chapter 5 from Kick Up Your Heels Before You're Too Short to Wear Them. And that's how to live a long, healthy, juicy life. That's the subtitle. And the chapter title is Soul Talk. You can suck the living hell out of the day-to-day by the descriptions you use to discuss or even to just think about people, places, events, and yourself. Or you can live as if your cup were half full. How cognizant you are of what you say is directly correlated to the outcome you'll get. If you continually speak of your life in terms that describe it as if you never feel good, things just never turn out right, or nothing positive comes your way, you'll more than likely end up being right. And most of us would rather be right than happy. It takes less energy to feel good than it does to feel bad. In fact, I'd go so far as to say that it takes courage to be happy. My great-grandmother Conchetta suffered many indignities and tragedies throughout her life, yet not a day went by without her announcing that she felt blessed with abundanza, which is abundance. You can choose to take all your experiences and channel them into a reality show based on fear and anxiety, or you can think of all difficulties as opportunities for creating something new. Negativity is like a big black hole with slippery sides. Once you fall in, it takes a lot of effort to crawl back up. There are also many people who like the security of the darkness. So if you're down there, you'll have lots of company, like a mole. However, when you decide to come back into the light, they won't help you because they're stuck in the quagmire of goo at the bottom and they want you there with them. When you find yourself in a hole, stop digging. It takes vigilance to be the guardian of thoughts, words, and deeds, and you're often at the mercy of years of conditioning that make you operate as if you were on autopilot. The Buddhists say that all suffering of mankind is produced by attachment to a previous condition of existence. When you use language such as, if only, I wish, or I can't, you're dismissing the possibility of today in order to maintain the familiarity of the past or to assuage a fear of the future. You may think it's easier to stay in an unhappy relationship or job or maintain habits that don't serve you, but ultimately you'll suffer the consequences. In order to be happy, upbeat, and successful, you need to become an actor or actress who has been given a juicy script. Become the character as you read the uplifting lines. For a while, you might not believe the things you say, or you might feel uncomfortable talking about the positive and reassuring aspects of life, because the negative side is safe and strangely comforting. But the more you practice and get into the skin of your character, the words will flow more naturally until they eventually